Now we're going to jump into it, talk a little bit about your Utah football.
Let's do it. Before we get into the content, we'd like to encourage you to join the conversation in the comments down below. While you're down there, consider subscribing to Utah Football DNA. Make sure you smash that like button for your boy Darren.
That's right. All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into it. AJ, we've got some thoughts we want to talk a little bit about when it comes to the University of Utah this week. Fall camp's opening up. Not a whole bunch of huge storylines coming out of that this week.
No.
I always like to wait a couple of weeks before we start diving into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is the Utes have a lot of players that they know are going to be in those positions, right? Like there's a couple questionable groups and stuff like that, but we'll wait till we get a little bit closer, make sure injuries aren't happening, that kind of stuff, right? We got a few weeks.
Yeah, and most Big 12 teams, they don't even let them out on the field, like the press out on the field to watch practices, except for like the kickers. Like I think that was the biggest story. Is like, hey, you guys come out and watch practice, and it's just for the last 5 minutes to watch the kickers.
Yeah, and Utah football actually live streamed their kickers.
Yeah,
did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. That's crazy. And obviously, we don't want to sit here and bore you guys with the interviews there. You probably absorbed enough of that from everybody in local media on that one. So we wanted to kind of shift the focus a little later in the season. We did that last week where we skipped over the game against Idaho and went right into the game against Arkansas. But we're going to do that again and shift it even further, AJ. Let's kick it out even a little further.
Yeah.
I think this one we're going to go a little bit further out. We're going to need to talk about the Holy War.
Yes, sir.
Now, this, I think we got one that is, if not one of the most important rivalry games in Utah BYU history.
How about in all of college football?
Well, I don't know about that. All of college football, I'm not huge into.
It's got to be one of the biggest ones. It's got to be top 10.
I'm pretty sure the old BCS days, there's a few games over there in the SEC that really kind of shaped how that all shaked out for a national championship. So I don't know. I can see where you're coming at from there for sure. I mean, we definitely have a recency. We definitely have a
small bias.
Small bias ourselves.
Yeah, maybe
here.
a small bias. That's fine.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and start off with the obvious. What I'm going to do here, AJ, is I'm going to go ahead and break down why I think this is going to be one of the most important rivalry games we have.
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with the obvious, okay? So BYU has won 3 straight contests against their rivals from up north. We have had a video on this channel previously where we talked about how the Utah faithful, especially of a certain age, that haven't been around when Utah hasn't been the more successful program in Utah, in the state. Prior to this losing streak, the University of Utah has won 14 out of the last 17 matchups. That's going back with the last 3 and the full last 20 games they played against each other head to head. So another loss for Utah would put BYU kind of in signifying that position that we might be swinging back to BYU domination that we've seen in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. AJ, I want to pause for your thoughts on that, my friend.
I mean, it's a great point. You know what I mean? Like this is a pivotal game for Morgan Scalley especially, because as Utah fans, we got to win this game, right? Like we have to. No questions out. We have to win this game. As there's just no excuses to lose this game ever, because obviously we always feel like we're the better team. You know what I mean? So one of the things that Scalley's got to do, and we've watched it over the last couple of years, you got to take field goals when you get them. This is one that was really frustrated. You know, the game last year where they came into field goal range, decided not to kick a field goal, and ended up turning the ball over, didn't get any points out of it. That ended up being the difference in the game, and it happened multiple times. So plain and simple, no excuses, take field goals, be aggressive scoring the football. You got to win it. So this one's important for Scalley. I think, to really get the Utah fan base to turn towards him, I think everyone's buying in. We all love it, but you definitely gotta wait.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one, man. I agree with you. It is an important game for them to win. But again, that's not really going to be the most important reason, AJ, for why this, I think, ranks as the most important rivalry game that this duo's ever seen.
Yeah.
So, how about this, AJ? Let's put it this way. This game this year will put these two teams in pretty much impacting the whole conference as its whole based off of this.
Yeah.
Coming in this game, AJ, we were expecting the University of Utah to pretty much be undefeated at that point, right? At least that's going to be the goal, is for Utah to be undefeated coming into this game. And we are expecting BYU to potentially have one loss to their non-conference opponent with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of pretty much sets that up to where this game's going to be kind of important on stacking who's going to be the most important team. Where's the as far as power rankings in the Big 12?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is the pivotal game for both of these teams this season. No doubt about it.
And for the conference and how it's going to shake out.
That's exactly the point, because it essentially ends both teams' Big 12 and college football playoff hopes, or at least takes it out of their control, right? I mean, a loss means you are hoping for the other team to lose again, which is never what you want to do as a football team, right? You want to control your own destiny. So where winning this game gives you pretty much a lock at that number 2, right? Assuming Texas Tech is as good as we think they're going to be. Everything kind of rides on this one, man. I mean, and luckily it's a home game for the Utes. I absolutely love this. Rice-Eccles Stadium is one of the toughest places to play in the country. I will go to bat for that every single time if you've watched it. And if you've ever been to Rice-Eccles, you know that place gets so loud. It is very tough for opponents to play there. So having the tiebreaker against BYU is one thing. But obviously in the conference standings, and assuming that Utah slips one game this year, you know what I mean? Like we're not assuming Utah's going undefeated the whole season.
No.
But you slip one game, and then having the tiebreaker over BYU is going to be very important.
Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, it is the conference title game almost plays down to this one. This is going to be a fun game, man. If this is BYU's second loss, this changes their season drastically.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because A, they're out of, they don't hold the tiebreaker anymore. And B, they don't have a chance at that college at the Big 12 title game, which is their automatic bid.
Right.
Right. And then if they go to the college, if they lose, get into it, now they're a 3-loss team. Now the Big 12's not even going to get that second team, because who even chances? Right?
So that would flow nicely into our next topic, which we want to talk about, AJ, which is actually going to be the CFP. Now, it's funny, AJ, we were about 3 weeks out from the season even starting, and we're already talking about who's going to make it into the CFP or not. That's just how much farther we're projecting forward. You know, we're not covering interviews.
Nah.
That's tough. You got people for that.
We're going to the end of the season, baby.
You got Locked On Utes and some other situations for that. You don't need us for that. ESPN
and they're credentialed media members. Just listen to the beginning of all their videos.
Just listen to them talk about that. Listen to them kiss the ass of whoever they're interviewing.
Yeah.
And not ask any hard questions. So, but anyway, so we want to talk about stuff that's actually going to be important, stuff that people are actually talking about now.
Yeah.
Right? Locker cooler talk. I mean, not locker cooler. Water cooler talk, right? So that's basically what we want to talk about is the CFP. So in this situation, AJ, this is what we're talking about. So here we are. So last year, the Big 12 conference kind of got hosed last year, right? BYU was only lost to one team all year. It's just unfortunate they lost to the same team twice, which is drastically, even as Ute fans, we got to say that's kind of an unfair shake for BYU.
Even as a Utah fan, that is a bad shake.
Yeah, because as a conference as a whole, right, we want to have representation there.
Yeah.
But in that situation,
and deserve to have a second team.
They deserve to have a second team. BYU should have been there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even how much it would have hurt us as Ute fans, that we felt like that should have happened, right? BYU only lost to one team all year, but then they kind of got hosed. Now, technically, they were a 2-loss team. Keeping that in mind, we lost that made them fall out of the CFP from last season. But AJ, since both Utah and BYU do not play Texas Tech this year, this puts this conference in a very unique situation where we can, if we expect both Utah and BYU to have a good season, it is likely that we may see, it's a possibility. Let me ask you that. Is it more of a possibility that we're probably unlikely to not see 2 teams from the Big 12 in the CFP this year?
This is a tough one, man. And as crazy as it is, I think a lot of this absolutely depends on what happens in the BYU-Utah game. I mean, that is, it is all kind of centered. And I think so your question is, can the Big 12 produce 2 CFP teams? And it's what happens BYU-Utah? That is
Right.
the answer because, like you said, Texas Tech, they got a cush schedule. You know what I mean? So if Utah wins, they got a chance to be a one-loss team in the regular season, right?
Right.
This is just assuming one loss somewhere. I mean, my personal pick, I think they lose the week after they beat BYU. Going to Arizona is a tough game. I think that's probably their one loss this season. So Utah being a one-loss team means you get an auto bid into the CFP with a win in the title game, right? And I feel like the way BYU kind of got shafted last year, I could see the Utes getting a CFP bid even with a Big 12 title loss, right? Like even if they're a one-loss team, they make it to the conference championship, they could still get in with a loss to Texas Tech just because of the way that they shafted BYU last year. They're like, I don't know if we're going to do this again because we clearly didn't do this right.
Yeah, I think if BYU got in there with one loss, and that loss was but see, that's what they did last year. If you lose two games, if you lose to Utah and you lose to Notre Dame, but then you have to win the conference, and then you have the automatic bid, right?
Yep, exactly.
But if you beat Notre Dame and lose to Utah, or you beat Utah and lose to Notre Dame, then again, you're still just a 2-loss. One of those losses being to a top 5 team, you still, even if you lose to the conference champion, you kind of have to let BYU in again, specifically because of how much they screwed up last year. I think they still let them in then.
Yep, I totally agree. Because if BYU wins if BYU wins the Utah game, they are now a one-loss team, assuming their one loss coming from Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean that's a pretty strong bid. That's a pretty strong case for a top 12 bid, even with a title game loss, right? Your one loss in regular season is to a non-conference opponent and one of the top probably 10 teams in the country.
Yeah, currently ranked 5. The preseason coaches poll has them at 5.
Yeah, I mean Notre Dame's they're always up there, right? I mean,
just by
but
prestige.
the crazy part about Notre Dame is they always lose a game really early in the season that they totally shouldn't lose.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that'll be
Kinda like the
that's
Utes at the end of the season.
that's actually my concern is that BYU beats Notre Dame.
Yeah, so that's my follow-up question.
Yes,
is in that situation where let's say BYU beats Notre Dame, but then loses to Utah.
The good news is they're.
Then BYU goes into the conference championship and loses. They are still only a 2-loss team that lost their conference championship. So same situation as last year, just one in conference team. Let's say BYU.
I mean, some of these scenarios get all jumbled up in my head because that's kind of crazy thing. Because if they do beat Notre Dame, lose to Utah, they probably don't make the Big 12 title game.
Right, because
Utah's going to have the tiebreaker over them.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Okay, so then
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're hoping for a bid into the top 12 based on your win over Notre Dame, a loss to Utah, who at this point is probably a top 10 team.
Right.
Right? So you're probably one of the top 10 to 15 teams in the country with one loss, but you didn't make your conference championship.
So I would still put those two teams in.
Well, but at that point, if Utah loses in the conference championship, how do you put BYU in over top of Utah, even if they lose?
No, I'm saying you still have two teams because you have Texas Tech, who gets the automatic bid,
and then hopefully Utah,
and then Utah because they're only a 1-loss team.
Right.
So
they would be a 2-loss team at that point.
Well, the conference championship, yeah. And only one other game would be in loss to.
Yeah.
Like we're assuming they're losing somewhere. So yeah, I still think in that situation Utah still gets in. So you have Texas Tech and Utah because Utah will only have a 1-loss and then a second loss would be.
So does BYU get in only being a 1-loss team without a loss in a conference championship? Because at that point they're 11-1 with their only loss to Utah, and they beat the number 5 team or whatever Notre Dame ends up being.
Right. So they would have the tiebreaker. So that would be an at-large. So in that situation, are we seeing 3?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We're going down the rabbit hole
here. We're down the rabbit hole, guys. Make sure you guys jump in the comments. Let us know what you think because we think the Big 12 can produce 2 college football teams.
I honestly don't see a way that they don't. I think that's my main argument is that regardless of how this shakes up, and let's just say for some reason, toss some salt over your shoulder, AJ, do whatever you got to do to hex it. But let's say, there's a different team in Utah or BYU spot here, and they're running the situation the same way. They're only a 1 or 2-loss team coming out of the conference championship. Can you keep them out of this CFP? And I don't think you can.
I don't think you can. I mean,
unless the conference beats up on each other.
Because the fact is the conference is going to beat up on each other, but they scheduled it this year so that teams, if they play the right way, all only have one loss.
Yeah, I don't see where BYU and Utah have more than 2 losses if they don't screw it up somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, there's at least got to be 2 teams. I think we're pretty solid on we think that at least with the BYU and Utah schedules being as soft as they are, you know, BYU is the only team out of the 2 that's actually playing a top 10 preseason ranked team, right?
Yeah.
So like, and even then, like it's Notre Dame who could quickly fall off, you know. So
Notre Dame loses one they shouldn't lose every single year, man.
So it's kind of like, okay, they both have good players. Neither of them are playing Texas Tech, so we're kind of in a situation where I think it's kind of unless something catastrophic happens, and you know, like I always say, this is an exercise in futility, trying to predict college football.
It really
college
is.
Football
It really is. But it's so much fun.
Yeah, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.
Yeah,
we're gonna hit some of these in the chat here. We've got Sydney. I can still not say your name right, dude.
McElreath, I got you.
McElreath, thank you. What is your opinion? Who's better, Bird Ficklin or Devin Dampier? I'm going with Devin Dampier just simply because I don't know, man. He was the better quarterback last year, and he was.
I'm gonna go also with Devin Dampier, but I think it's a much more narrow margin than it was last year,
Agreed.
right? Because Bird reportedly through camp is throwing the ball much better. And like they are saying into the public that there will be packages where Bird's throwing the football. Now, is that a misdirection? Maybe, right? That's something you want to put out to the media. You want everyone to think every time Bird catches a ball, there's a chance that he's going to throw it. Totally understand that. I think Devin Dampier is elusive as they come. I think you don't have to design runs for him. He's going to take them. He is a more primarily passing quarterback. He is a better scrambling quarterback, where Bird is not as strong of a passer. His design running is so much better because he is really fast. He makes great cuts. I think he sees the field better as a running quarterback, but I think Devin Dampier is better at holding the ball, getting the ball up the field if he needs to, and then feeling pressure and escaping the pocket to make big plays. Devin Dampier, by a slim margin, is my opinion.
Yeah, I like this follow-up comment here by Sid. Both are really talented QBs, but I feel like Bird can be amazing next year when Devin leaves. Yeah, and I just think there's also another caveat to what Sid's saying there, is that you always hear where they talk about, like, oh, they're really going to open up the ball and they're going to start throwing it more. This is something that was teased every single fall camp going into the season
with Kyle Whittingham.
With Kyle Whittingham bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and we're going to open things up. We're going to throw the ball more. I love that that Scally kind of shut that down right at the gates. Like, he just like, well, we're going to be a physical football team. Like, when he's like, as soon as someone's like, oh, you're going to see them throwing a lot more passes this year than last year. He's like, well, we're going to be a physical football team, which is Utah speak for this team's not going to throw more than they run, right? And I think in that situation, they're always going to establish the run first to try and develop the passing game, right? To open up the backfield a little bit. That's always going to be Utah's style first. Run the ball is going to be where they're at. I think what Sid's point kind of matches on this is, like you even mentioned, that Bird Ficklin's going to be more of that type of design run than you're going to see with Devin, specifically for that reason. So in that case, I could see where they're coming from on that, because they're going to not want to lose that offensive identity. Because I think in one of the press conferences you mentioned that you want to leave Utah feeling, knowing you feel it the next day, the next week. You want to be like, oh man,
absolutely,
I don't want to play Utah because they hurt. They make us hurt. Yeah. Even when we win, they still make us hurt. So I don't know. I can see where he's coming from, but like you said, the margins are starting to get thin there for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is Bird knows that he's a quarterback of the future for Utah. You know what I mean? Like, he's coming into this season knowing I've got one more season behind Devin Dampier, and then this team's mine for 2 years if I want it.
It kind of feels like we kind of did that Wilson kid dirty that way, because he thought the same way.
He's
going to come in. He's thinking, what's his name?
But honestly, but I mean, honestly, it wasn't necessarily Utah that did him dirty. It was Cam Rising getting hurt that really did him in, right? Because he knew he wasn't ready to be a starting quarterback in Division I football.
No.
Right? Like, he played for the best team in high school football at Corner Canyon. Had a great season, set every record there was. He knew it was going to get a lot more difficult, but he was planning on coming in and learning how to read the field, learning to adjust to the speed, playing with all the twos. You know what I mean? Like, he needed that opportunity to learn and grow, and he didn't get it because Cam got hurt.
Yeah.
So, but Bird Ficklin's in a really unique situation because they're running an offense around him. So he's getting time on the field with designed runs for him. Especially if they do put the opportunity for him to throw the ball in here and get some throws. I mean, he made like 15 passes last year, had a pretty good percentage, threw a couple touchdowns. Bert Ficklen's going to have an opportunity to keep growing as a quarterback, and that's going to be really important when it's on him fully to run this Utah offense, and then to have a whole nother year under his belt, learning the offense, understanding the terminology, making reads while he's on the field. Bert Ficklen's going to be great when he's the starting quarterback for Utah next year.
Do you know his completion percentage last year? Off the top of your head?
It's something crazy. It's probably like 66%.
See, I was going to say 67.
Yeah, it's something high, but I think he only threw 15 or 20 passes last year.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking, I'm like, do I have that stat in my head? I think I had that stat in my head.
It's something right in there. Yeah, for sure.
Lumpy brains right here. Big brains.
Boom.
We just hold on to that stuff.
Yeah.
Soak it up
Keep
like a sponge.
keep the questions coming. I love this.
Love this.
Yeah.
Locked on Utes, LMFAO. Yeah, right. You know,
I just hope you like our Utah content better than Locked on Utes, Greg.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just, again, that's why we do this, right? Like we wanted to create a show where it's kind of like you belly up to the bar with your buddies, whether it's a dry bar or not, you know, and then you're just talking sports.
Yeah.
Right. You're just chatting sports. Nobody's got an agenda. No one's got a press pass. No one's got a sponsor. They got to keep happy.
No.
We just want to create a place for everybody to chat, you know, and talk sports, you know, and be able to call each other idiots in the comments, because that's, you know, where it's really fun.
Usually what happens. Yeah, we get called idiots in the comments quite a bit, so I can take it. It doesn't even hurt my feelings anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. 5,000 subscribers later, I can take it.
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
2 monetized YouTube sports channels. But yeah, anyway, we appreciate it, folks. Thanks for joining us. Again, jump in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are on either subject we talked about today. Do you see this as being one of the most important holy wars that we've had in you know, these teams' glorious, like almost 200-year history with these two schools?
Yep.
You know, do you see it as being as important as we do? Because again, it's really up there, man. It's got an impact on both just, you know, who's got bragging rights in the state, and way beyond that, and simply how it's going to shape up, how things are going to go for the Big 12 and even the CFP going forward. So
yep, absolutely.
We want to hear from you.